Well, good evening, everybody. This is Dr. Stephen Walker, licensed clinical psychologist, coming at you live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We're here doing our twice a week mental health live stream. Tonight's topic is how to affect each other. Okay. We'll get into that a little bit more, but I want to, again, as I'll start every show, remind about everyone. That's good. Remind everyone about my Help a Human Fund. This is a fund you can donate straight into and help people who can't afford treatment. 100% of the donations go to helping them. Want to remind everybody about our sponsor, great sponsor, BetterHelp.com. You can use a special promo code that they have set up for us. You can go to BetterHelp.com/Dr. Walker. You're not going to work with me, but you're going to have the pick of thousands of other licensed mental health providers. But to get the special promo pricing that they're offering my viewers and followers, you've got to type in BetterHelp.com/Dr. Walker. I'll post that in the chat stream so that anybody who is live can check it out. But I just want to remind everybody that this is my attempt, my small little attempt, to help normalize conversations about mental health and mental illness. Why am I doing this? Because we all have a degree of mental illness. Every single one of us has a degree of mental illness that we are not working on. Why? Because it's stigmatized. Again, if you're watching this live, please share this, okay? Please share this broadcast if you'd like. Be proud that you're talking about working on your mental health, mental illness. We all have a degree of it, like I said before, but we need to work on it. Please ask a question or make a comment. This is a live stream, not a podcast. A podcast is recorded and touched up and fine-tuned, and everything's just so nicely edited. This is a live stream so that you can ask me questions. You can engage with me. You can talk about anything that may be on your mind. I need to slow down my thinking today. It's been a long day, as many of you know, or some of you don't. I am a full-time on the front lines mental health provider. My wife and I run our private practice. I see 8, 9, 10 people, sometimes back to back, depending on, what the needs are. And I love it. I love every second of it. But one of the things I've seen is there are a lot of misconceptions out there about what constitutes self-development, mental health treatment, personal development. All of these things have been co-opted by some incredible misinformation. So this is my attempt to try to put out some information out there that I think can help people find a little bit more emotional balance. Again, if you want to call in live, this is my office line. I have it transferring directly to my cell phone while I'm on live. If you want to call in, ask a question, engage with me about something on your mind, feel free. There's the number right there. I'll also put the number in the top right-hand corner that you can see right. Well, this is reversed right there. Okay. So let's talk about tonight's topic. Hey, Sigrid, how are you? Good to see you again. Thanks for coming on. Mindy, how are you? Hey, hello. Can you talk a little bit about resentment and the best way to work through it? Hey, Gail, I work on a level 1 behavioral unit and I'm seeing more younger people in their mid-20s and 30s. Damn, those are good topics. Sure, we can talk about that. Let me talk briefly. I'll come back to that. But let me talk briefly about tonight's topic about how to affect each other. Again, if you're catching this live, please share this. Please share this on your Twitter feed, your Instagram feed, whatever else feed out there, to bring in people to discuss mental health and mental illness people. We need to discuss this openly, like we talk about our physical health, our dental health, whatever. Oh, I've got bunions and I'm proud of it. And everyone talks about it. Bunions, I know. But, we talk about things all the time. We need to discuss our mental health and mental illness because, like I said, for the third time, Everyone has a degree of mental illness that we need to work on, every single body. So I will get to those two great questions, Mindy and Gail. Thank you for those. We'll address some of that. Keep the questions and comments coming, please. But let me talk briefly about how to affect each other. Okay, what does that mean? How to affect each other? I thought we weren't supposed to give a rat's ass or rat whatever care about how we affect each other. I thought caring how we affect each other is a sign of weakness. You know, you see all the inspirational people on YouTube, not all of them, but a lot of them on YouTube saying, don't give a crap about anybody. You are number one. There's a prominent Canadian psychologist out there, many millions more views than me, many more millions of followers than me. And that's fine. That's fine. Putting out information out there about if you're not wrong, don't apologize. Don't know who hurt this individual. But I don't know any relationship that's going to survive a long time. You're welcome, Mindy. I don't know any relationship that's going to survive a long time without apologies, without saying you're sorry. Now, if you don't feel you did anything wrong, you can still apologize for hurting somebody, okay? So that's why I wanted to come on tonight after a very long day, good day, fruitful day. But I wanted to talk about it because something struck me from a session that I had today when we were discussing some relationship issues this person was having. And it struck me that men don't seem to own their shit, excuse my language, their stuff. Men don't seem to apologize for what is going on. How are they affecting each other, affecting people in a relationship? I'm not saying it's not women either, but predominantly what I've seen is that there's this theme in a lot of relationship and conflicted relationships that we shouldn't care how we're affecting each other. And this is just so incredibly concerning as somebody in the mental health field, because there are numerous mental illnesses, narcissism, which is, you know, the big hot topic now. Narcissism, the main personality characteristic that a narcissist has is a lack of empathy, a lack of caring about how you're affecting each other. And this is exactly, Mindy, hang in there. I'm going to get to your question in a second. This is exactly what degrades relationships. We seem to be moving towards a culture, and I don't know if it's driven by social media. I don't know if it's driven by people online who, in my humble opinion, are literally taking people down the wrong road, but it's being driven by this I don't have two F's to give and how to not give an F and all of this ridiculous information. So when you think about the topic for tonight, how to affect each other, the first part is to realize that it's okay that we're affecting each other. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with being affected by people. Like I've had people close to me. We won't get into that, but I've also heard from many clients that people say, hey, you shouldn't let me affect you. You shouldn't let me affect. I shouldn't have that power over you. I shouldn't have the ability to control you. And all that does is allow the abuser or people who are causing pain to not take responsibility for their actions. Hey, it's not my fault. It's not my fault you're upset. It's not my fault. What? You shouldn't let me affect you. Yes, there's some degree of truth to that. But that's like punching somebody in the face and say, hey, it's not my fault you're bleeding. Well, why are you letting yourself bleed? Why is your eye swelling up? That's not my fault. One of the main ways we can work on how we affect each other is by acknowledging to the other person, hey, Black Slacker, what's going on? How we are affecting each other, meaning we need to say to people who we are affecting, look, I own that. I own that I caused you negative feelings, negative thoughts, okay? We can't look at people who we're affecting negatively and just put it back on them and say, hey, it's up to you, man. I can't help that. One of the main things I've seen and I've worked with thousands of couples. Like I said, I've been 25 years now doing this in various treatment facilities, schools, private practice, whatever it may be. One of the main things I've seen in relationships to degrade is not only a lack of communication, but a lack of ownership for how you're affecting a person, how your words hurt somebody, how your actions affect somebody, how what you don't say affects them, how what you do say. And when I say how to affect each other, we need to be conscious of how we're affecting each other. We need to be conscious that we have the capacity to affect each other. Why is that important? Because if you continue to affect somebody in your life negatively, and then you're expecting them to care how they're affecting you, well, you're living in Fantasyville. Okay? Sigrid is saying anytime you're speaking to anyone, you're affecting someone. Exactly. Positive or negative. Be mindful of what comes out of your mouth, choosing your words wisely. Absolutely. Exactly, Peggy. It's called gaslighting. I have very little tolerance for someone who doesn't take ownership. Absolutely. But see, the issue is when you're talking about gaslighting, is the person who is doing the gaslighting a lot of times is not even aware that they're doing the gaslighting, because they're just playing out conditioned habitual behavior that they've either done in previous relationships or that they've seen growing up. So one of the things I encourage people to own and to appreciate before how they think about how they're affecting each other is, how are they affecting themselves? What is, like I've said before, what is their relationship with themselves? How do they gaslight themselves? How are they in a delusional, kind of unaware state of mind where they're not even aware that the way they're relating to themselves is also affecting how they relate to somebody else? And that's a whole nother topic, a whole nother live stream that we can get into. Okay. I call it intrapersonal psychology. Okay. Interpersonal is what we're talking about today, but intrapersonal is your relationship with yourself. So if you want to ever check out intrapersonalpsychology.com, feel free. It's one of my feeder domain names. But when I say how to affect each other, the first thing, or not first, but one of the most powerful, I'm going to get to a lot of these comments. These are great. Thank you. Keep them coming. This is why this is called a mental health live stream. Okay. Live stream is the key, because I'm on live to engage with people about their mental health, mental illness, whatever's going on in their lives. And if anyone's game, you can give me a call on this number. It goes straight to my cell phone. You don't have to give your name, but we can talk about what's going on in your mind. We can talk about what's going on. Maybe you thought about getting therapy. Maybe you thought about getting an issue. Maybe you're working on an issue. Maybe you're depressed. Maybe you're anxious. Feel free to use that number and give me a call. So, but getting back to the topic tonight about how to affect each other. Okay. The most powerful tool that you can use when you're thinking about affecting each other is empathy. Okay. Empathy is trying to feel for another person. You're never going to feel for another person completely, because you're not psychic. You're not an empath to the point where you can literally feel what another person's feeling. Because if you were an empath and you could literally feel what other people are feeling, you'd probably go nuts, because then you'd feel every single person that walks around, unless you've learned how to control that. Now, I consider myself a very empathetic person. Why? Feedback, my work, the personal work I've done on myself. But again, I'm still working on that. But I've learned how to manage what I'm taking in from people. But empathy is trying to feel for somebody else. Now, why is that important? Okay. Because if you can try to feel for somebody, then you're going to stop before you say something. And you're going to actually, like Sigrid said, you're going to think before you speak. Now, why is that important? On a surface level, sounds so cliche, right? Think before you speak. But the key word there is think, because most people are not mindful. Remember, we talked about mindfulness in a previous live stream, and mindfulness is the idea of thinking about your thinking, being aware of what you're thinking about. Now, why is that important in any relationship? If you're thinking about your thinking, not only are you thinking about what you're giving out, but you're thinking about what you're giving in, what you're relating to, how you're relating to yourself. And then that comes out as a projection towards other people. Most people with conflicted external relationships have an incredibly conflicted internal relationship. They hate themselves. They're hard on themselves. I was watching some, and I'm seriously thinking about starting to just show clips of what this information I'm finding and seeing online, because there's one gentleman, and he's a motivational speaker, and his big message is, don't give a crap about how you're affecting anybody. Don't care. Put your needs first at all costs. And again, whenever I see individuals like this online, the first thing I think is, who hurt you, man? Who disappointed you? And if you look at Tuesday night's live stream about how to handle disappointment, you'll see that a lot of what people are putting out onto the internet, first of all, they're not licensed. They have no training in mental health, excuse me. They have never carried a client load. They're not actively practicing their craft. They're not actually engaging with people. They're either advice givers, or they're people that are telling you, let go of your negative emotions, let go of your negative emotions. So, sure, Peggy, let me see here. Where is that? There you go. So what we're talking about is the ability to understand that how we affect each other should be the number one thing we should be thinking about on a daily basis as a society. We should be thinking about how we're affecting each other. We should be thinking about, how am I affecting this waitress? How am I affecting this person here? How am I affecting this person there? And we're never going to get it perfect, because sometimes people affect us and we react out of that. We give people multiple chances and they keep doing it. Or we have a suspicion that somebody is doing something that we don't appreciate, and that causes us to have an emotional reaction to that. We can't be perfect, but we need to own how we're affecting each other, because that is exactly where our society is going off the rails. If we continue going down the road of not caring how we affect each other, you think things are bad now with the polarization. It's going to get even worse. It's going to get to the point where the people who care about how they affect each other are going to shut down, because nobody is caring about how they're being affected. We need to look at not caring about how we feel, how we affect people as a mental illness. You know why? Because it is. It's called antisocial personality disorder. It's called, like I said before, it's called narcissism. It's called all kinds of different things in multiple forms. If you look at a lot of mental illnesses, you look at these pathological components people have, and a lot of them are either a disregard for how you affect people, hurting animals, and hurting yourself, all of which are indicative of a system, a biological system that has stopped caring about how they feel. Now, let me just break off here for a second and get to some comments, because we're getting a lot of good comments here. That's an interesting comment, Joseph. What do you mean by that? Joseph is saying sociopaths making money on teaching empathetic people sociopathic behaviors. It's very good. Well said, because that is exactly what it is. Sociopaths or the idea of sociopathy is the idea that people they have no regard for other people. They have no regard for people other than themselves, number one. And that's a product of an individualistic society. And guess what America is? We're an individualistic society. We're not a collectivistic society. We're an individualistic society. So Joseph, that's dead on. That's really good. Sociopaths making money on teaching empathetic people sociopathic behaviors. Exactly. And you know why they're doing that, Joseph? Because they're not even aware of their sociopathy. They're not even aware of how damaged they are and how hurt they are. So they're bleeding that out onto other people, saying, "Oh yeah, I don't care. I don't care. Do you? I've stopped caring about how people feel. So you should too." So let's get to Mindy's question. Hello, can you talk a little bit about resentment and the best way to work through it? Perfect. Okay, so let's talk about resentment. Again, Mindy, I don't know if you're still on. I hope you are. But if you want to follow up, what type of resentment are you talking about? Are you talking about external resentment where you're resenting somebody outside of you? Is it internal resentment? You're resenting yourself, or are people resenting you? I'll just go with somebody's holding a resentment or grudge towards other people. So let's talk about that. Yes, of course. Okay. So I don't know which one of those three, Mindy, sorry, but I'll just go with the first one. Somebody is holding a grudge. Somebody is holding a resentment towards somebody else. Okay. Let's talk about that. So one of the things I've seen over and over and over with people that I work with is that they have these unhealed emotional wounds from their past, and those are causing these grudges that they're holding on to with other people. So again, everybody, if you're watching this live, please share this. Please share this on your timeline. Please share this on your feed. Why? There's nothing wrong with working on our mental health, mental illness, nothing. You should be proud of it. You should put, hey, I'm working on mine tonight. Or you check out this feed. But resentments are basically unhealed emotional wounds that people have caused onto us. So let's say you have resentment towards your parents, or resentment towards an ex, or resentment towards your kids. Okay, the number one way to work on the resentment, Mindy, or not number one, I always say that, but there's no rank order here. But one of the best ways to work on your resentment towards other people is to own that you have that resentment, is to acknowledge, yes, I have a grudge or a resentment. I'm holding a resentment. And then to sit with that and either work through it with somebody in the field, somebody who can help you work through those issues, or you can actually talk to the person that you have the resentment for. Now, let's say you can't talk to the person. Let's say they're dead or they've cut you out of their life. The resentment you have towards them is a multi-layered thing, people. Another one of the very destructive things that's going on social media is this idea that these issues we have are quick fixes, man. I can listen to a podcast, or I can read a book, or listen to someone talking online, and boom. No. These types of issues are built on years and years of a thought process, a way of thinking that continues to permeate into your thoughts on multiple different levels. So if you have a resentment towards somebody, there's a good chance that that's bleeding into other relationships you have, meaning you're resenting other little things. Now, then you got to look at, well, what am I resenting? Am I resenting something they did to me? Am I resenting, their type of personality? And I was going to do a live stream on this hatred people seem to have for stupidity, for people who aren't very bright, or who do things that they look at like, are like, oh my God. And then we resent them for either not living up to our own expectations. So Mindy, the Reader's Digest quick version of it is, one of the best ways to work through resentment you have is to first own it, make it okay that you're feeling it, pick it apart, figure out what you're resenting, see if you can talk to the person about it, see if you can talk to yourself. Self-resentment, people, that's a whole nother topic, because most of the time people have resentment and are carrying grudges against themselves that they're not even aware of. They're not even aware of how they're resenting themselves. So Mindy's following up saying, I just realized that maybe some of my resentment is me truly feeling like maybe it is something I want or had at one time and gave it up. Yeah, excellent. See, Mindy, this is exactly what I'm talking about, sister, is just in this little moment when you're thinking and focusing on it, you're getting a little bit of an insight. Now, imagine if you did that on a daily basis and wrote about it and then engaged with somebody to talk things out with you. You would find more and more reasons. I can't tell you guys how many times I've heard that from clients I'm working with. Oh, I just realized, you know what I just realized? That let's take racism, because nobody's born a racist. Oh, I just realized the reason I'm hating this green person is because that's what I was taught. I was taught to hate. Oh, wow. I never really thought of that. Mindy, keep thinking about it. Keep thinking about it. Because when you say Some of my resentment is me truly feeling like maybe it is something I want or had at one time and gave it up. You got to go a little deeper in that. I would ask you, what do you mean by that? What is something that you want or had at one point and gave it up? Who forced you to give it up? Why'd you give it up? Is the person who you're resentful about resentful towards? Do you feel that they made you give it up? Are you resenting yourself for giving it up? See, we have these thoughts and emotions, but people don't a lot of times realize that those thoughts and emotions that we're projecting, that we're feeling inward, are actually projections from how we're relating to stuff in our own mind that we haven't worked through. Oh, yeah. So she's saying myself a lot. So, yeah, that self resentment is definitely. Self-hate is one of the most destructive emotions that people do, because they resent themselves and then they put that out towards other people. Now, I'm not saying there aren't people who hurt us. There are people who hurt us. You give them a chance, they say sorry, they do it again. You give them another chance, they say sorry, they do it again. You give them another chance, then you break things off, or you distance, and then you're you're just cutting people out of your life. Look, if there's somebody out there that you're holding a resentment towards, talk to them. If you can't talk to them, talk to yourself. Okay. So Gail is saying, thanks for the question, Mindy. I hope that helped. Feel free to follow up with anything. I'll be on for another 10 or 15 minutes. Gail is saying, I work on a level 1 behavioral unit, and I'm seeing more young people in their 20s and 30s. Wow. I hear you, Gail. I've worked on my share of behavioral units. I've worked in behavioral units in the Caribbean. I've worked in behavioral units in Oregon. So I know what you're talking about. So, and yes, the reason we're seeing more and more younger people in their mid 20s and 30s. Mindy saying, I love learning. Thank you. Yes, sir. I was great. Okay, great, Mindy. Keep thinking about that. Write that down. Do a little journaling tonight about somebody you're resentful to, or you're having resentment towards. And what you'll find, people, is, I know it sounds cliche, but absolutely the answers are within you. Okay. The answers are within you. We just need to go within and look at them. But of course, mental health and mental illness is so friggin' stigmatized that we don't want to admit. And then you got people online telling you, oh, let go of your negative emotions. Just let go. Oh, surround yourself with people who only lift you up. Oh, gee. Okay. And then the people who don't lift you up, what should we do to them, with them? Just cast them aside? Just maybe suppose you're one of the people who doesn't lift people up. Should you be cast aside? Anyway, so I hope that helped, Mindy. Let me know how things go, or if you have any other questions. So getting back to Gail's question about seeing more and more younger people in our behavioral health unit in their 20s and 30s. Absolutely. Absolutely. And my fear is it's going to get worse because people are not talking about it. Now, granted, I have seen, yes, I know, Bracy. I wish it was that easy. I hear you. I have seen a shift towards a little bit more of an acceptance about mental health and mental illness as a normalizing discussion point. That's encouraging. But the problem is, a lot of these 20 and 30-year-olds, and I work with a few of them, a lot of them are growing up with an influx of pornography into their minds at an early age through the internet. They're growing up addicted to social media. They're growing up with, like, I did a live stream a few weeks ago, or a few streams ago, about FOMO, fear of missing out. They're incredibly, incredibly fragile because what a lot of them aren't having they're having parents who no offense to parents, but who don't have their what together, to the point where the kids are being left alone too much. So if you have a child that's go ahead, Bracy, hit me. She says, I have a question that's way off topic. That's why I'm doing this live, Bracy. Ask anybody out there watching live. Stump me. Try to stump. That's a good title. Stump the psychologist. But yeah, ask me whatever you want, whatever's on your mind. But the reason a lot of 20s and 30-year-olds are getting the mental illness is growing and growing and growing. It's because of influences that people like us in our 40s and 50s didn't really have. I was telling a client this the other day who's working through and making great progress on a pornography addiction. and how it's affecting his relationship. If I had grown up with the amount of free porn online, oh man, I don't even want to go there. And then you got the social media, the people like to say, well, I don't care about being liked and I don't care about bull crap. Social media is fueled by the like button, by people liking what you want or not liking. So we've got all these insecure kids growing up in these dysfunctional, segmented, fragmented out families. And what's their main tool of socializing? Social media. Social media. So I feel you, Gail. Great continue doing the work. Be that role model for those kids. I worked in sex offender treatment programs, and I know how, these broken young souls and they need somebody, are so susceptible to rejection, so susceptible to fear, drugs, and just this bombarding idea that life is just what they see, and then we're not getting into what's in our mind. So great work you're doing there. Thank you for doing that work, Gail. I hit Siegfried's. Yes, Peggy was talking about gaslighting. Let me just go down here. Bracy is saying, I think a lot of my issues are from childhood, young adulthood. How does that stuff affect us so many years later? Incredibly. All my abusers are dead except a couple. Those I'll never be able to confront. Okay, Bracy. Well, again, sister, how does that stuff affect us so many years later? I mean, the easy answer for this live stream is, first off, Bracy, is it's okay that it's still affecting you. Okay. Step number one is what I call the it's okay pill. It's okay that it's still affecting you, Bracy, because you didn't ask for the abuse. So that's step number one. How does that stuff affect us so many years later? How can it not? How can it not affect you if it hasn't been treated and healed and worked on? Okay. How can it not affect you if you were sexually abused or physically abused or neglected or had not enough love or had inconsistent love? Of course, it still affects you. I have a 5-year-old, and it just blows me away the degree to which he absorbs. My wife and I just shake our heads sometimes because he comes up with things that we're like, where the hell did he get that? Bracy, okay? I choose not to think on it. So how does it affect me? But that's the problem, sister. That's the problem right there. I choose not to think on it. And I say this to clients all the time. Just because you're not thinking about it doesn't mean it's not thinking about you, doesn't mean it's not affecting you. There's a great line in a movie called Magnolia, a great movie, long movie, but if you ever see it, it said, one of the characters says, I may be done with the past, but the past ain't done with me. Sister, the problem is you're not thinking about it. Okay? Think of the energy it takes you to not think about it. Think about the denial. Remember, cut on my arm here, gangrene. Oh, nothing there. I'm not even think about it. That's not. A week later. Bracy, you got to start thinking about it. I don't mean on your own. If you've had an abuse cycle that's pretty significant, that's still affecting you, you need to get some work on it, Bracy. There's nothing wrong with it. You've got what I call an infected emotional wound. Okay. It's infected. It's infected and you're hating it. I'll bet you any money, Bracy, you're hating that it's still affecting you. Any money that you're hating it. I hate that this is still bothering me. I should be over this. You're dumping pollution into that wound by hating it. Okay. Now, am I saying to love it? No, but you can get to neutrality by working it. You got to work on it, sister. You got to work on it. Okay. Try this link. Okay. You're not, like I said before, you're not going to work directly with me, but you can work, you can pick, you can interview. Okay, great, Bracy. type that in. Use that promo code. They'll give you a discount. But Bracy, how do you know it's still affecting you, sister? You know it's still affecting you, but you hate that it's affecting you. You hate that that is still affecting you. That is how you know it's affecting you. The fact that you're talking about it, but you see, Bracy, you probably spent years telling yourself, I hate this. This shouldn't be affecting me. And sister, it is affecting you, and it's okay that it's affecting you. You didn't ask for that abuse. You didn't ask to be treated that way, Bracy. But until you start working on it, sister, it's going to keep affecting you. It's going to keep affecting you. But you got to work on it. Okay? You got to work on it. If you don't work on it, exactly, it's working on you. She just said, I just bury it. But sister, I know you think you're burying it. That is a colloquialism in our society, compartmentalizing. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You try to let it go. It doesn't work. Sure, letting very surface things go. My wife says something mean to me, my son, or what, not mean, but you know what I mean. Somebody says something, just let it go. She didn't mean it. Though that's great. Letting it go in that's a good strategies. Hello, for that. It doesn't work. You're not going to let go of that pain, sister. I know it doesn't. You got to work on it. It's never too late to heal. Trust me, it's never too late for these things to heal, but you got to work on it. You got to, just like an infected wound, you got to clean it out, debride it. You got to debride the wound. You got to, so that healing can start working, but you got to do the work, Bracy. The main thing that you got to work on, sister, is your relationship with yourself. Okay. I told one who ran for public office, law enforcement, I told him I forgive him, not one word back. Okay, well, good. Remember, forgiveness is a selfish act. You know, I didn't come up with that. It's a good one. Forgiveness is a selfish act. You got to forgive people for you. So I hear you. It would be great if they said, oh, thank you so much. But Bracy, okay, and I got to log off here in a minute. But Bracy, my sister from another mister, you got to forgive yourself. Okay, you got to forgive yourself for still being affected by emotional abuse that you didn't ask for. Okay, you have to forgive yourself. It's okay that you're still being affected by these wounds from the past. Try that, people. If you've never thought about getting mental health help, if you've never thought about it, type in betterhelp.com/Dr. Walker. You'll get a discounted rate for them. Give it a shot. Okay. You're welcome. Okay, Bracy. So, let's talk a little bit more about tonight's topic about how to affect each other. Okay. Let me just make sure I got to all the questions tonight. Thank you for, yes, Peggy, it breaks my heart for these kids, the porn social media. It does. It's so, pornography is. And I'm not talking about, people have looked at the human body and art and images from since we began living. I mean, we're attracted to each other's bodies sometimes. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not stigmatizing anything. The problem with pornography is it's a bastardization of that. It objectifies people. It objectifies men. It objectifies women. It objectifies sex. It sets unrealistic standards. We were not even aware. So yes, pornography is very insidious. So just to get back to how to affect each other, okay? Yes, it is awful. It really is. How to affect each other. The main thing that I want anyone watching this live or when I post it is there's nothing wrong with caring about how we affect each other. Nothing. It's healthy. It's mentally healthy to care about other people, to care about how we affect another person. That is mentally healthy. Not think about it in just an obvious way. Okay. If you had a choice to move into a neighborhood and you knew no one in that neighborhood cared a crap about you, it was every man for himself, nobody was going to care about each other, or a neighborhood where people were going to care about each other and be considerate and care about how they're, which one would you choose? All right. So anyway, thank you for logging on. I do appreciate it. Please remember my Help a Human Fund. It's a fund you can donate into, help people with their mental illness. 100% of the donations go towards me using it to help people. Okay. So again, I'm on every Tuesday and Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern and going down. If you want to reach out to me, here's this is my this one gets forwarded to my YouTube page, but no, I'm sorry, that's my business website, licensedpsychology.com. This is my YouTube page. You can go to that. Please subscribe, please. Okay. The more people that subscribe, the more the videos will get put higher up and the more people will talk about their mental illness. If you're on Facebook, please like the page, set your notifications for when I go live, and please ask a question, make a comment. I try to get back to I try to answer most, if not all, the comments that people make. But the main thing in closing that I want to leave you guys with is this, okay? And we'll talk again next week. Work on your pain, okay? Work on these things inside of you that you know are still affecting you, please, because we're all affecting each other. I know we can't see it. I know we can't feel it. A lot of times we don't believe it's there, but we are all connected to each other, people. We are all connected to each other. And that's not me. That's Einstein. Great minds have said it, okay? Just because we can't see it and we haven't learned how to feel it yet, we are absolutely connected to each other. The work we do on ourselves radiates out and starts affecting other people. I would not be where I'm at now, right now, if I hadn't worked on myself. I would not be working, trying to help other people if I haven't gone through some, thank God, no sexual abuse and, mild, moderate physical abuse growing up, but nothing like pathological. But there was certainly emotional, psychological, bullying, teasing, lack of love, all kinds of emotionally unavailable thought. We don't need to go into all that, but I worked on a lot of that. Okay. Work on yourself, work on your issues. You can find healing, but you've got to talk things out. You can't just absorb. You can't just sit there like, you gotta talk things out, okay? So how to affect each other, work on how you're affecting yourself, own if you've hurt somebody, even if you think you're right or wrong, because they may think you're wrong, but you're not wrong. Work on how you've affected them. Talk to them, apologize, own it, and then process the issue you're having with somebody, okay? All right, everybody. Well, I hope everyone has a good 4th of July. Let's see here. Peggy's saying, when I've worked on my pain in the past, I've had people say it's just drama, so hurtful. Yes, it is. And let me guess something, Peggy. Those people who are telling you it's just drama are the ones who hurt you, right? Right? Yeah, exactly. It's so funny how the abuser will say, oh, that hurt you. Oh, you're not over that yet. Oh, yeah. Are you over hurting them? Have you owned how you've affected them? Are you continuing to point the finger at them and not own your part in it? Yeah, I know. Yes, I hear you, Peggy. So, yes, Peggy, and thanks for your interactions tonight. I really appreciate that. I'm doing this live, after very long days of doing the work I do with people, but I love it. I genuinely love trying to help people heal. I'm very blessed to have, my share of people to work with, and I'm very blessed for that, and very grateful. So I try to log on and just help people not lose hope. You don't have to, you don't have to suffer the rest of your life in pain. You don't, but you got to do the work. If you want muscles, you got to get in the gym and lift some weight. Okay. You got to, but the only way to build them is to work on them. And the only way to heal is to work on it. And the only way to heal in this field is to talk your shit. Talk things out. I can curse because my 5-year-old's not here. Excuse me. But you got to talk things out. You got to talk things out. You got to get feedback from somebody who's trained and stop listening to these, don't want to say morons, but these people online who have no clue what mental health treatment is. Okay. Please, if you're listening to someone online and they don't have any training, they're getting and stealing the information either from psychologists, other licensed people, and they're using it because they have a lot of followers and they're acting like it's their information. It's not their information. You want to do an interesting thing? See where they started saying this, and then look at some other people's feeds and see when they started saying it first. Because these mental health influencers are completely wrong. Completely. This obsession with letting it go is a byproduct of, oh, okay, well, I don't know how to help you with your negative thoughts and emotions. I don't know how to deal with that. I don't even know how to deal with mine. So I'm just going to tell you to let it go. And they're anyway, everyone have a great, sorry about that. Hey, Jen, how are you? Missed tonight, but I'm going to go back and watch it. I'll catch you next week though. Great, Jen, please do. Thanks for logging on. So everyone have a good 4th. I'll see you next week. We'll have some more topics. Do not hesitate to reach out to me. Or once again, please remember, if you've thought about getting help, if you've ever thought about working on some of your issues, BetterHelp.com reached out to me and said, hey, we'd like to sponsor your program. How do we do that? Anybody you refer to us, they give me a fee for referral. But they're saying, we like what you're doing. We encouraging people to work things out. Okay, people? And nothing on this planet, you're welcome, Penny, nothing on this planet would make me happier than to be able to give my services away and not have to deal with insurance companies. Okay? Helpahuman.org. Donate into this fund. It'll go directly towards helping people who can't afford it. Okay, people, have a great weekend. Enjoy your 4th. And if you're living in an area that's drought ridden, please don't shoot off fireworks. Okay. Anyway, talk to you soon. Talk to you next week, and have a great weekend. All right, guys. See you then. Take care. And I really appreciate everybody who logs on and shares this. So thank you.